My name's Dave Schmidt.
My name is Stuart Straub.
My name is Ben Schmidt.
I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons
14 plus years now.
I started playing D&D whenever I was 6.
since I was in middle school in the early to mid 70s. Probably what introduced me into RPGs is my reading of fantasy and science fiction, and then going into a store at some point and seeing some type of a fantasy book and finding out it wasn't a book, it was an RPG. At that time, been the only thing out there would have been Dungeons and Dragons.
I think now there's a lot more resources for people looking to get into D&D. Before it was pretty much just what books my dad had, and since I was basically in elementary school, what I could borrow now with the internet, there's a lot more resources. If you want to find groups online, that's a thing that you can do. Definitely a lot more accessible.
A lot of people play D&D now online, but to me it is something that needs to be done in the same room as your friends because that's part of the fun, right? I like all the minis, all the paper, I love pushing pencils. It's phenomenal in that manner, but ultimately it's a really good creative outlet. So I think that's probably like my most favorite part is that I get to be ridiculously creative with it, especially as a DM.
I think what I enjoyed most about playing D&D at the beginning was being able to immerse myself in the world that I'd been reading about. Later it became something totally different, and that was more the interaction with friends and seeing two or more people doing the same type of thing along with me, creating our own adventures within this world that we had all read about.
One thing that I know I've used a lot as a DM for recent groups is looking online to find maps and things like that. It's a lot easier. There's a lot better artwork and assets out there for things like that. Sometimes you can hear stories about other people's groups that will make inspiration for current things. I haven't run any online groups or played with anybody online myself, but even just looking up resources and pre-made campaigns there is useful too.
D&D has evolved quite a bit from its initial start back in the early 1970s as a vehicle for wargaming between two different armies, to individuals playing one-on-one or within small groups in fantasy adventures. Back in the early 70s, it was a very niche group that was pretty much relegated to, oh, you play that type of game? And it has evolved into a very social game now where a lot of very intelligent, creative people play the game and enjoy it on all levels, and has become a lot more socially acceptable.